I bet you have something going on in your life right now that could use a spark to get you going again. Because I find myself getting distracted or losing focus. And then I have to take this deep look at myself and wonder, okay, where on the path did I start to stray and how do I get back on the path? Because if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you have a purpose, you have a goal, you have a path that you've been pursuing, and it's a good path. Most of us have good paths where we feel better throughout the day because maybe it's a diet thing or an exercise or something like that, like a sleep routine. And it's like we know that that makes us better workers. We have more energy throughout the day. We feel better about ourselves. And it's like, this is great. But then you get distracted and you stray off that path and you start wondering, why am I so anxious about this stuff? Why do I feel terrible? I'm not sleeping well. And, I'm not being the worker, the coworker or manager or friend or boss that I need to be. And we know that it's when we actually are pursuing those things, we actually step into it and it's easier to become the best version of ourselves. So it's a good thing to do that. But we get distracted and you can't tell me that you've never been distracted. It's so easy. It just happens in life, whether it's a late night here or there or something like that throws a wrench. I got sick the other week and it completely obliterated my routine. It completely obliterated my rhythm and it threw me off, and it has thrown me off. But that's not the only thing that threw me off. I've been distracted for quite some time. In fact, I was talking with my coworker and he just moved here from San Diego recently. He's a great guy. And he was talking to me and I was talking about just feeling off. And then he said something, and I don't remember exactly what, but it was like this light bulb turned on. And I realized, I've been so distracted. I haven't been pursuing the things that I know to be true and good and helpful for me. The things that make me into a better friend, the things that make me into a better worker, the things that make me happier, more full of energy, wiser, things like that. And it was like this moment just kind of clicked with me. But I've been so distracted lately. And the way I describe these distractions is it's like running downhill. Have you ever tried to run down a steep hill? It's fun at first, but then you pick up speed pretty quickly. And usually you become frantic because you're trying to keep your legs below your torso and you're moving them as quick as you can because you don't want to fall. Because you know if you fall, you're going to tumble multiple times and you're going to end up in that scene in The Princess Bride. But I believe that's how distractions work. It starts off fun, but picks up speed really quick. And before you know it, you're heading full speed in a direction that you never meant to go. And then you ask yourself, how did I get here? Sometimes it's like you're running down that hill and you realize, wow, this hill is actually a lot bigger or a lot longer than I expected. And I don't want to fall. So I'm just going to keep going and keep moving my legs as fast as I can. And hopefully I'll find some level ground that I can slow down and finally stop on. And I've done this in my life a couple different times where I just basically rode out the distraction, was like, you know what? I'm this far into it, I'm just going to keep going. And then by the time I got done and I leveled out, I looked back and I realized, wow, I'm so far from where I thought I was going to be at this point. And you have to get back on the path and you have to get back to that point. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. And I think of this in the sense of resilience, because resilience, we always think of resilience as this thing that you just keep going. No matter what, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. And there's so much truth in that. And the secret to resilience is recognizing, I think sometimes it's not just recognizing, okay, we're gonna power through. Sometimes resilience is recognizing that, hey, I'm on a distraction and I'm running downhill and I know it's gonna hurt if I stop, but I need to stop really bad because I don't want to be so far down this distraction that I have to travel that path all the way back the same way. And so sometimes resilience is recognizing, okay, hey, look, there's a softer patch right here. I'm going to tuck and roll. And yes, it's going to hurt, but I found a softer patch to land on. So although it's going to hurt a little bit, it's better than hurting a lot. and it's going to keep me closer to my goal. And so you have to learn how to stop going in that one direction and turn and go in the direction you actually know is healthy for you or know that it's good. And we lose sight of this so easy throughout our lives. It happens all the time. And we look back and it feels like we're just tearing ourselves to bits sometimes because we're just flailing down the side of a hill. And it sometimes we fall and then we just scrape ourselves up and it tears us to bits. And I've looked back on my life and recognized so many areas where it's torn me to bits. And at first I say, ow, that hurt. But then I say, oh, it rebuilt. Just like going to the gym and we work out to failure and we work out to failure and we tear the muscles and we tear them a little bit more, they heal and they build stronger than before. They fill in those gaps that have torn and it makes us stronger and stronger. The same thing happens in our present and in our past where we recognize this is where we tore, but we built up a wisdom. We built up strength. We built up resilience. We built up the mentality. It broke our worldview, but it also built our new worldview on how we understand life a little bit better and a little bit better. And so we're a little bit wiser. And that's why I've said it time and time again. This podcast, the whole purpose of it is by accurately viewing our past. I believe that our greatest future lies within the correct view of our past. Because when you accurately view your past, you're going to see all the different areas where you tore those muscles, the mindset, the shifts of your reality, the way that you view life was ripped to bits. Maybe it was love, maybe it was friendships, maybe it was jobs, maybe it was just bad experiences or embarrassing moments, but it broke you, but it puts you back together stronger than before. And when you recognize that you are stronger than you actually realize, it gives you a confidence in stepping in the present, knowing that, hey, I'm not going to be perfect. And in fact, I'm probably going to fail, but it's going to make me stronger for the future. So I can step boldly into the future, recognizing that although it's unknown, my strength is known. And when you accurately see your past, you know what you bring into the present, which gives you confidence that helps you recognize that your future can be that much better because you're looking at it from a stance of I'm going to build it with the strength I have and the hope that any of the failings that I go through today are actually just going to make me stronger rather than this isn't going to break me. Yeah, these are tough moments, but it's not going to break me and I'm not going to cease to exist because of this. You're going to say, no, it's going to build me and it's going to make me stronger and better. And so tomorrow is going to be even better. Next year is going to be even better than that because all the failings that I have in between now and next year are just going to compound and strengthen me even more. It's going to strengthen you. That's the whole purpose of this podcast. But these distractions happen so easy, and resilience and how it comes together is recognizing there's a history of this. That you lay a foundation of beginning again. And you lay a foundation of that resilience of saying, I've fallen off the path or I've strayed from the path. I'm going to get back on it as quick as possible. I grew up in the golden era of the NFL quarterbacks. Honestly, I'm so blessed. I got to grow up watching John Elway, Steve Young, Dan Marino. It was awesome. Brett Favre. And then I went into Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and of course the GOAT, Tom Brady. And now I get to watch in real time the greatness of Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. It's so exciting to watch. But there's one quarterback that I watched in my life that I think impacted me a little bit more off the football field than actually just watching him on Sundays. Of course, he was so much fun to watch on Sundays. And it's funny because my coworker that moved here from San Diego understands. But one of the quarterbacks, professional through and through, his name is Philip Rivers. He was the quarterback of the San Diego Chargers. And Philip was an incredible quarterback. In fact, I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Other people will say no because he doesn't have a ring, but he's got the stats to back up and are better than a lot of other Hall of Fame quarterbacks. He's currently 6th most passing yards of all time in the NFL, and he's currently 6th most touchdown passes in quarterbacks of all time. He's in the top 20 across, I think, 3 or 4 other stats that quarterbacks are focused on, passer rating, things like that, yards per pass attempt. He was a great quarterback. He played with such a passion and such a grit as well that inspired people, where he would never talk poorly about his team. Even if like his defense gave up, a 70-yard drive and a field goal with 30 seconds to go. There would be so many times when Philip Rivers would have a 2-minute drill. He'd lead the team down 70 yards in the final, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of the game, and he would lead the team down, score, take like a 2-point lead or whatever, and then his defense would give up in 30 seconds, 70 yards, and the other team would kick a field goal and score a touchdown, and he would end up losing. And he would just break them. He would throw for like 450 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he would do all this incredible stuff. But he never would talk poorly about his defense. He would never talk poorly about his team. He would always talk about how much he loved those guys and how much he would just want to go back to work with them. But he would feel that loss. And what really stuck out was at every post game, he would wear a hat, and that hat would say Nunc on it. And Nunc is a Latin phrase. Philip's a devout Catholic, but Nunc is a Latin phrase. It means now I begin. And it was this mindset and this mentality that no matter how high or how low, whether it was a win or it was a loss, he had to begin again. Now I begin working. Now I begin on the next week. Now I begin on the next game. And I didn't realize how much that actually permeated into my being, because I used to say it a lot more than I do now. But I was talking with my friend from San Diego, and we brought up Philip Rivers, and immediately it came back to me. And I looked at some of my life over the last few months, and it's been stop and go and stop and go and stop and go. And yeah, it's hurt, and it's been kind of annoying at times, and it's been frustrating, I'm sure. But I constantly have this mentality of, okay, I failed. We begin again. Now I begin. Nunc. What I've realized is that anyone that does anything great in life, they're all going to face the battle of beginning again and again. There's a Chinese proverb that says the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And the secret to resilience is not in never failing, but in starting on the path again and again. Moving forward despite failing time and time again. You fail over and over and over. And resilience says, I'm going to start over and over and over. So the next time you feel yourself needing a spark to start something and get going again, I want you to think of Nunc. Now I begin. Doesn't matter what yesterday was. Doesn't matter how things have been in the past. It doesn't matter what has taken place. If you need to start something or you need to spark something to get it going again, maybe it's a motivation thing, you just got to go. Now I begin. It's amazing how many times I've gone back in my life and looked at all the different things that I've done and recognized how many times I've started over, how many times I've begun again in the sense of maybe I pursued a career in this, and then I pursued a career in something else, and then I went back to school for sports broadcasting, and then COVID happened and shut down sports broadcasting, and then I pursued a new career, and now I'm in this career, and this career is where I was supposed to be all along, because everything I do in my day-to-day now is all drawn from the things that I did then. Everything I've gone through has led me to this point to where I can recognize, oh, I'm distracted and I need to start over. And yes, sometimes it lasts a month, sometimes it lasts a week, sometimes it lasts a few weeks. But I can tell you this, I'm going to get back on the horse and Nunc, now I begin. That's going to do it for this conversation. I really appreciate all of you who listen to this podcast and all of you who share this podcast as well. This is a incredible year so far with lots of things going on. But it's inspiring me and it's encouraging me and it's exciting me about what we're going to do together this year. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Remember to give grace, show love, and as always, stay stellar. Peace.